and I'm not going to name names, but there was at least one prominent NFL insider who was repeatedly insisting that the Ravens were going to use the exclusive level of the franchise tag on quarterback Lamar Jackson. And we've been saying for weeks now that non-exclusive is more likely than exclusive.
Right.
Non-exclusive wasn't even on the table until the end of last season when he was injured, didn't play. There was that sense of some sort of, I don't want to go as far to say acrimony, but there was at least awkwardness over whether or not he could have played near the end. There were things bubbling up from the locker room. There was a sense that folks weren't thrilled with the lack of the effort by Lamar to go out and play. And I was on record, and I'll say it again to all those folks out there who think I hate Lamar just because I say he should have an agent. And as I've said before, if I really hated him, I'd just say, keep doing what you're doing, Lamar. It's working well. If he had an agent, the agent could have pushed back on all that and said, look, he hasn't gotten his financial reward yet. Why would you expect him to go out and play if he's less than 100% when he has no security of any kind financially beyond this season? It's ludicrous. It's irresponsible. And I'd be committing malpractice if I let him do it. But again, this is one of the prices you pay when you don't have an agent. There was no one out there other than us to make that argument for him. So anyway, all things considered, the Ravens decided, I believe, to just say, screw it.
Yeah.
Let's apply the non-exclusive tag.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, too, though, also in the locker room, and if you listen to some of the rumors that are out there or, people associated with the organization might be disappointed, too, hey, let's, put yourselves in their shoes, too. They are hearing and probably know more times than not being in the locker room that, hey, the guy that, maybe isn't putting his best foot forward, right? He's been offered the second greatest contract in the history of football, or one of the top 5. Let's just say that. So that's also got to be taken into account when you bring that up. At least, I think if we're going to be fair to both sides there, that's all I'm saying there.
Well, you're right. No, but the problem is, and this is where the dog is chasing the tail around and around and around we go. If he'd had an agent, he wouldn't have been in the position where he didn't have a contract because the agent would have made sure that he took whatever that offer was. And we still don't know the details.
Yeah.
Because there have been selective leaks by the NFL Players Association and Lamar Jackson. $133 million fully guaranteed to multiple different ESPN insiders and personalities, with the idea of making the Ravens look like they had screwed Lamar Jackson. That was the most recent message from Stephen A. Smith. He was the third of the 3 ESPN personalities to get that same information, $133 million, fully guaranteed at signing. It does not tell the story. It does not paint the picture. It's one piece, one data point, and that's it. And it allowed people to suggest strongly in the case of Stephen A. Smith that the Ravens were screwing Lamar Jackson over, when if you know the whole details, maybe you come to a different conclusion. And as I've said before, if they put the whole contract out there that was offered to him last August, maybe most of us would say Lamar should have taken that deal. Especially if we compare what he could have had then to whatever he could have had now, if we ever know what it is. I'm assuming the Ravens made him an offer at some point before applying the non-exclusive franchise tag.
Right.
Is it the same? Is it different? Is it more? Is it less? Is it completely different structure? Is it fully guaranteed? We don't know, because the Ravens aren't going to put any of that out there. They have been respectful of Lamar the entire time. They have not leaked details about the contract. The leaks have come from Lamar's camp. So I'd love to know full details of the offer that was made in August, full details of any offer that was made before yesterday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we may find out whether there are any offers made. We may not find out the details. Maybe Lamar is going to insist that none of these details ever be leaked to anyone up to the point where he signs an offer sheet. Then we'll know what the details are. Or if he signs a contract with the Ravens, then we'll know what the details are.
Yeah, listen, it's I don't even know where to begin with this. I really don't. There's a lot to unpack. There really is. I think my first feeling is, I feel bad for Lamar Jackson. I'd like to see him get paid. This is weird. It is. I'm rooting for that, as we talked about all the time. We're talking about a guy who's a superstar. He's been one of the best players in the NFL. He won the MVP, right? Ever since he's been the starting quarterback for the Ravens, it's been, playoffs conversation, certainly. Can they get over the hump to get the Super Bowl, right? I mean, this is a guy that we all tune in, just like you're seeing right here in that Thursday night game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Special performance. You go, damn. Man, he's fun to watch. Wow, he's got an electric arm. Holy cow, can he run? And then you see, $32.4 million next to his name? On the same day, a guy named Daniel Jones got $40 million a year, right? The optics don't look right. But, there's a lot of things that have gone into those optics that have made it look, weird, and putting Lamar, and he's partly to blame here, in this weird situation. And again, I'm hopeful that something gets done here. But I'm with you. I mean, why was everybody so shocked that it was a non-exclusive tag? I mean, I was on my podcast Monday. I was kind of going, I think it's a no-brainer. Why? I mean, the only thing that that doesn't look right, or I shouldn't say doesn't look right. It all doesn't look right. But the it's not good business. Why throw out the extra money? Wow. For the franchise quarterback, if you can get him for that number. Now, he's going to be disgruntled, but I don't know what I was trying to say there to finish my thought. But either way, yeah, there's some work to be done.
I'll finish it for you.
Right.
I'll finish it for you.
Go ahead.
If they truly want to keep him long term,
yeah, okay,
that's a gesture.
Right.
That's a gesture that I think is better suited to sending the message,
sure,
we really want to keep you long term. And case in point, Chris,
yeah,
when they announced it yesterday, both on Twitter,
right,
which – hey, we have applied the franchise tag to quarterback Lamar Jackson. Well, Ravens, you're kind of leaving out a fairly important piece of information there. Which level of the tag? It's about a $13 million difference. And then when they emailed their statement from Eric DeCosta, the executive vice president and GM of the Baltimore Ravens, there was never a mention of exclusive or non-exclusive. And the statement makes it clear they want to continue to negotiate in good faith with Lamar and hopeful they can strike a long-term deal. But if they truly want to keep him, if they want there to be no chance he's going to slip away from their clutches and they'd get 2 first-round picks in exchange for him, they would have used the exclusive level of the tag.
Right.
That extra $13 million buys you certainty that you don't have to worry about the guy leaving. Now they have to worry about him leaving. And you know what, Chris?
Well,
they may be fine with it for 2 reasons. Two reasons. Hang on, let me finish.
Yeah.
2 reasons. One, they're happy to say you can have him and we'll take the 2 first-round picks. Or number 2, maybe they know nobody's going to come calling for him, which is going to trickle into what we talk about for most of the balance of the segment.
Well, sure, right. Nobody's going to come calling for him. Or how about this on top of that? They have no faith that he'll get a deal done with anybody else either, because he's shown us that getting a deal done is not exactly in his wheelhouse. So they can also go, well, yeah, we can do this, and let him test the market. You let him see that maybe our offer isn't all that bad and maybe the best one he's going to get, Or if somebody wants to blow us out of the water with some crazy guaranteed contract, then fine. But we're not willing to give that. So now you got to give us 2 first-round picks. So I know, yes, the good faith in what you're saying makes sense. That's what I was trying to say. That makes sense. Yeah, it looks better to have $45 million. We like this guy. We want this guy. But, in business actuality, I thought we thought this was a very real possibility if you put yourself in the Ravens organization, Eric DeCosta's shoes, for all the reasons we stated above, and so that's where it looks weird. And on a day, like we said, where Daniel Jones gets a big contract and all that, and then, hey, we get into the next thing, it seems like teams maybe were talking to each other behind the scenes, then it becomes a huge Twitter debate and everything else, and it's just a weird, unfortunate situation.
I don't think collusion in the NFL, which definitely happens in various forms and fashions, we talk about it from time to time.
Yeah.
You're the one that always reminds me of the collusion in the uncapped year of 2010 when the Cowboys in Washington treated it as uncapped, and then 2 years later they got whacked.
Yeah.
They had salary cap space taken from them because they dared to treat the salary cap uncapped year as truly uncapped. So there's definitely collusion. I think that's a given. We just can't prove it.
Sure.
And I don't know that there were any secret meetings here. They just know. It's when in Rome, you know. And, Chris, it may be this simple.
Right.
And I prefer simple to complicated.
Yeah.
It may be this simple. The teams out there that would be inclined to pursue Lamar Jackson believe that they're not going to make him an offer that the Ravens can't or won't match. So why bother? Why do Baltimore's work for them? Why do we want to spend the time tracking this guy down, getting his attention, getting him or his mother to call back? And, hey, you can only talk to him. We learned that last year with Roquan Smith and St. Omni, the guy who wasn't a registered NFLPA agent who was negotiating or trying to on behalf of Roquan Smith. And the NFLPA sent out word, and the league did as well, you can't talk to anybody but the player if he's not represented by an NFLPA certified agent. You got to track him down. You got to work out a deal. You got to get him to accept it, and then the Ravens are going to match it. Why are we going to waste our time doing all that? Now, I don't want to be mistaken for defending the league against what I think is collusion, but why do we want to spend our time getting Lamar to the point where he signs an offer sheet the Ravens are going to match, which means there's no one out there that's going to give him a 5-year fully guaranteed contract. They're not going to do it because that's the only thing the Ravens wouldn't match. And as we move toward the point in our rundown where we start talking about all these teams that just pop up out of the blue, not directly, but always through a reporter, this team's not interested, that team's not interested, all in the immediate aftermath of the news that he's available. We're not interested. They're not interested. They're not interested. You're not interested. I think it comes down to this. They're not interested in making the kind of offer that Lamar would accept and the Ravens wouldn't match because they're not interested in doing the Deshaun Watson 5-year fully guaranteed contract. That's the heart of all of this. Now. That's why no one's going to do it.
Right.
That's why Lamar's phone is not going to ring. Most likely. All it takes is one team.
Right.
But, boy, it sure looks all of a sudden. And you know what? That crush of news yesterday may be aimed at persuading that one team that may be thinking about it to not do it.
Well, from that standpoint, too, it seems like it was a little piling on the subject, right? Some of these teams we were like, now they're being associated with Lamar Jackson. We never thought at any point they were going to be associated with Lamar Jackson. So now, but just because that happened and they said no, it became a story. That's where I don't understand that either. And again, what I want to know, or what I think is also important here too, as far as what you just said, right? I mean, these teams, I don't think were like, oh, Lamar Jackson got the non-exclusive tag. Hey, let's release our statement to say we're not interested in him. No, I mean, they were called by certain media entities to go, hey, do you think you'd pursue Lamar Jackson? So they had to make a comment. It wasn't like, hey.
Well, no, they didn't.
Did they not?
No, they didn't.
People,
Chris,
you don't
didn't have to say shit. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, people.
Because none of it was on the record. No. Hang on.
Okay.
You triggered me on this. They don't have to say anything. Okay. Now I can understand that reporters would have reason to say, "Hey, Lamar's available. Are you interested?"
Right.
Why not just say we're exploring all our options? Why not just say no comment? Why not say nothing? Free agency is looming. I mean, somebody wanted to get out the word. At the Falcons, at the Panthers, at the Dolphins, they're not interested.
Well, that's all. There's more reasons than just that, though. That's what I'm trying to say. Some of those teams, like Miami, doesn't want to deal with the distraction of Lamar Jackson all offseason. Are we going to get him? Are we going to keep Tua? So they're squashing it. It makes sense from football standpoint, too. Same with the other teams. They might just be like, hey, wait, we don't want to deal with that, oh, my gosh, distraction. Are we getting to Lamar? Will you give him a guaranteed contract? Right? I mean, they might not want to.
You've been saying the Falcons. You've been saying the Falcons are the. That's what you said.
I said yes. I thought it makes sense. No.
You've been saying it. So why are you singing a different song now?
I'm not singing a different song. I'm just saying for them, I thought that would make sense, right? They're obviously not going to go in that direction. Somebody called and asked them that, and they're saying no. So that's it.
But Chris, it defies the way these teams operate. They never show their hand. They never put their cards on the table. Why would you not want, if there's any other veteran quarterback out there the Falcons are going to pursue, why in the hell would you not want to have the vague possibility that we'll just go make a run at Lamar Jackson?
Well, then why aren't they out of Aaron? Why aren't they in on Aaron Rodgers then right now and all that too, right? It's the same thing. Well, we don't want to deal with some of those problems that come along with it.
You know what, though? There's never been a report that the Falcons
because
are
no
out
one's
on Aaron
called.
Rodgers.
No one's called to ask. Lamar became a hot button topic, so this became a whole issue around it. That's why.
Teams are obsessed with keeping their cards close to the vest on everything. That's what was weird about this. They always keep their cards close to the vest. They never tip their hand on anything. Now, all of a sudden, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Dolphins, it's this land rush to say, we're out, we're out, we're out. It's like Kramer slamming his money on the table.
I mean, at no point did we ever think we're out. We never thought the Panthers were involved in this, ever. So that it just became a report yesterday, and we're like, oh my gosh, they're.
That's why.
Well, we never thought they were, and nobody ever at any point has ever gone Lamar and the Panthers. That's not even on the radar for anybody. Nobody. The Dolphins was a thought that was thrown out there because he's from South Florida and they got a quarterback they like. What's so crazy for them to say they're not interested in Lamar Jackson?
Oh,
Well,
that's a different issue altogether. They can't even talk to him until after the draft. They can't even talk to him until after the draft. But I look at it this way. So, Josina Anderson reported over the weekend the Dolphins are exploring all options at quarterback this offseason. And there was no pushback from the Dolphins then. There was no counter report. If Jeff Darlington was going to say what he said yesterday, he should have said it after Josina Anderson said they're going to explore all options. He should have followed it up with, no, they're not.
All I'm saying.
The timing is what's weird, Chris. It creates the impression that there's an effort to send a message to anyone out there who may be sitting in the football lab, pouring the chemicals into the beakers and trying to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. Don't pursue Lamar. Don't do it. That's the message that came from that rapid fire.
I got you.
Falcons out, Panthers out, Dolphins out.
I know. All I'm saying is it wasn't like a strategic game plan by the NFL. It wasn't like, hey, guys, at 4:52 Eastern. Okay, but we're talking about now. Stop talking about that.
Last year.
But
I'm saying the seeds were planted then.
Well,
the flowers sprouted at a different time.
At no point did you think, again, too, one, did you think that somebody was going to give him a guaranteed contract, that was a possibility? I mean, we've been saying, we know the Cleveland Browns.
I thought it was a possibility.
Oh, I mean,
I thought it was because all it takes is one team. I still think Daniel Snyder may do it. And we'll get to him eventually.
Okay.
I still think he may do it because it would be the ultimate middle finger to the NFL on his way out the door.
Well, maybe.
And it allows him to be a hero with his fan base if he gets Lamar Jackson. Yes.
Well, maybe.
I do think that there's one team that may do it.
Okay. Well, I that's, totally just speculation, but you're the only person that thinks that. I mean, and everybody associated.
No, I'm not. Look around.
Well, everybody associated with football thinks that the Deshaun Watson contract's stupid. I mean, everybody. I mean, so. Again,
well, not everybody. Not everybody. The Browns are associated with football, and they clearly don't think it's stupid, especially it lays the foundation to get Lamar the hell out of the division.
Stop.
You're the one that's painting with this broad brush, man.
I'm just saying, no.
I mean, you're painting with too broad of a brush today.
All I'm saying is I think people are trying to say there was some secret phone call behind the scenes and let's
No. That's
I mean,
not how collusion
we
works.
knew nobody
Collusion
wanted to give anybody a guaranteed contract for a year straight. We knew that. Didn't take Lamar or anybody else.
But and see, this is where the collusion comes in. Do we even know that he wants a guaranteed contract right now? We don't know that. The last we heard about this from his camp was Stephen A. Smith 12 days ago saying on First Take, I spoke to someone from Lamar's camp, and they said he never asked for a fully guaranteed contract, which you and I both kind of agreed may be a sign that he's pivoting away from it because he knows he's not going to get it.
Right.
So why the hell don't you at least make the phone call, a phone call to Lamar Jackson and say, all right, look, we realize you're available. Well, and look, they can't. That's the thing. This is all premature. They can't even do it until next week. Can't even get in on it until next week. But once the moment comes that you can make the phone call to Lamar Jackson directly and have the conversation, assuming you can track him down, assuming you can reach him, which has been a chronic issue.
Well, again, those are other reasons that go against. Right.
But I understand.
Who wants to deal with that?
But it doesn't mean right. But why? But try. He's Lamar freaking Jackson. You look at all the work these teams do through the draft process, free agency. It's constant churning and looking and due diligence, and you're not even going to make the phone call. You're not even going to punch the numbers into your phone and try to call him and say, hey, Lamar, Stephen A. Smith was on ESPN a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that he spoke to someone from your camp. Maybe it was you, maybe it wasn't, but it's someone from your camp, and you never wanted a fully guaranteed contract. Is that accurate? I'm just curious. Is that accurate? And then the conversation goes one way or the other. And if it is, no, it's not accurate, I want a fully guaranteed contract, okay, there's nothing for us to talk about because we have decided on our own, without any collusion, not to give out fully guaranteed contracts. Why not have that conversation? That's what's so weird about this. You're slamming the door in the face of the guy before he's even on your porch. Have him come up to your porch. Find out what he's selling.
No.
Have a discussion with him. Don't slam the door prematurely. It's like they're trying to avoid an argument that they're colluding on not giving him a fully guaranteed contract by colluding on not even talking to him at all. That's what bothers me about this. And hey, maybe it's not collusion. Maybe it's not. We'll never prove it if it is. But, it happens in two ways. It's the teams agreeing amongst themselves, or it's the league office making it known. And when they get together 4 times a year, and D. Smith, the NFLPA executive director, calls the quarterly meetings collusion meetings. That's where it happens, in the room. Just like the tampering is rampant at the combine, the collusion is rampant when they're all together. All these owners of 32 independent businesses, it's like the CEO of McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, Taco Bell, Long John Silver's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, all getting together, Arby's, in a room 4 times a year. When they're independent businesses that compete on everything, they get together 4 times a year and talk shop. That's when the things are discussed that may be in their mutual best interests. That's when the business strategies are hatched that become the collusion. That's how it happens. And then it just kind of spontaneously unfurls as we get to these key points like we have right now with Lamar Jackson available.
I know. You're right about all those.
That's why you can never prove it.
Well, no, I know. You're right about all of that. But this is one where there doesn't need to be a secret meeting with all those people. When Deshaun Watson got that contract, we all went, that's dumb. And everybody in football did.
Pre-collusion.
Right. Well, okay.
Remember Minority Report?
But you didn't have to have the conversation.
Pre-collusion.
You didn't have to have the conversation to know that this was not going to be. Now, hey, the problem is here, bottom line.
Right. But Chris, back to what I was saying. We don't know right now whether or not Lamar Jackson is insisting on a 5-year fully guaranteed contract.
I was going to say
we don't
that.
know.
If you
so why not make the phone call?
I don't understand that either. I don't understand that either.
Sorry.
Hey, Atlanta, you certainly can.
You can make your case tomorrow.
Well,
you can have all 2 hours tomorrow.
Atlanta is, okay, by all due accounts, telling everybody they're going to stay with Desmond Ridder. So, and again, I was always one that makes sense for a lot of different reasons. I would have liked to have seen that. Carolina, we knew there was, nobody ever thought. Now, why they don't want to call, maybe not. But, you listed out already a bunch of reasons why you wouldn't want to call or deal with it. You listed them out.
No. Well, no, I didn't.
Well,
no,
you can't get in contact with them. We don't know what the contract is. Nobody can ever hash out details.
I'm saying you shouldn't try.
Well, okay. Some teams are just like, wait, we don't want to deal with that headache.
Their wheels in the mud.
And Carolina, by all due accounts, they're looking for something with Young, with their future. Hey, be quiet. I'd be quiet when you talk. Let me finish. All right. All right. So they by all due accounts, they didn't want to go down that route anyways. So now we're into Miami and Atlanta, and I don't think it's crazy to think Miami wanted to stay with Tua. Now, I hear you. Why not call, see, hey, maybe we can get him for something low, whatever. That doesn't make sense either. And maybe that's where they're sending the message. Either way, I don't want to argue about this and the fact that I want Lamar to sign a damn agent. It's gotten to the point now where I'm like, damn, this just is, it's stupid. There's generation, and I don't know what he's asking for. I don't. So that's the other problem with this issue. There's nothing out there, and like you said, there's no one to get his side of the message or, help through the media channels just to get his side of the story out there. And that's where it's weird too. And I think that's also what would exhaust teams as well, to just go, wait, one, it takes a special type of offense where Lamar runs, and we're not sure if we're built to do that. And then two, the things that we've heard and know about that have gone on throughout this contract situation for over the last year, I think are going to make teams go like, oh man, I don't know if I want to deal with him either. That's all I was saying. It's all weird. Well, it doesn't look right. He's awesome. He's generational. We know that. But he's based on running, and 2 years in a row, he's missed the month of December too. So that's scary. So again, I want Lamar to get paid. I was more, Mike, just trying to say, This is different than your normal collusion, I think, or normal, like the no salary cap year or Kaepernick situation. This one, to me, I just was trying to say, I think was a little bit like Captain Obvious a little. Like, and especially if the word has gotten out throughout the teams that, hey, he wants a guaranteed contract still, then, yeah, they're going to put that out right away when asked because they're just going to go, forget it. We don't even want to get involved in that conversation.
2 years, two different quarterbacks, one an MVP. One was an MVP candidate at one point before he tore his ACL. And here's the difference.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to, and look, we've spent 30 minutes, at least I have, defending Lamar's position in this and suggesting that there's something rotten going on.
Right.
But that'll be forgotten because the only thing that some are going to lock onto is I'm going to revert to my he should have an agent narrative, which means Florio hates Lamar, which is so stupid.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I accept it. If you have an agent now, and there's no way Deshaun Watson pulls off what he did last year without an agent. It doesn't happen.
Exactly.
You don't get 4 teams to the table. You don't tell the Browns, get bent at the appropriate moment that's going to cause them to freak out and come back with a 5-year fully guaranteed offer.
Right.
They worked that thing to perfection last year to get the deal for Deshaun Watson.
Right.
You have no chance to get that deal if you're Lamar Jackson without an agent. And here's where an agent would help him now. Right now. He calls Falcons GM Terry Fontenot, or she calls GM Scott Fitterer of the Panthers, calls Chris Greer of the Dolphins, calls Martin Mayhew of the Commanders, calls every GM, everyone, and gets the word out. Hey, you may have heard Lamar wants a fully guaranteed contract. You may be thinking that, but what Stephen A. Smith said on First Take 12 days ago is not accurate.
Sure.
It's not accurate.
Right.
Okay, let's talk. Why don't you want this guy?
Yeah.
And then, and I know how the best agents work. They're relentless. Sending clips of Lamar Jackson, the play we used to start the show. There are countless plays like that.
Right.
We've said before with Patrick Mahomes, in a full season, he generates more highlights than most quarterbacks do in their career. Lamar kind of falls into that
right
category as well.
Right.
Especially with his running abilities. He had some great throws over the year. People think he can't throw. He can throw. If you have an agent out there, you need Lamar. I know you're not listening to us, although you did retweet a clip from our show last week, so maybe you are listening to us. You need an agent to fight this fight on your behalf. No one else other than me, and you don't want me fighting the fight because I'm not in a position to call these GMs up and try to negotiate on your behalf. You need someone who is waving the Lamar Jackson flag in the face of all these people who are trying to say they're not interested and trying to get them interested. Say what needs to be said to get them interested in sitting down and talking to you and thinking maybe they can craft a contract that would get the Ravens not to match it. And now this team has Lamar Jackson as their quarterback instead of whoever it is who isn't Lamar Jackson.
No, and I know. I mean, again, I want to make that, because people only hear the negative. To your point with the no agent and all that, you don't like Lamar. And I get some of that too. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Am I not the guy that was popping blood vessels to tell you guys how awesome this quarterback was at one point and how much I still like him? But I don't agree with this approach. And I don't agree with it because of the better for the better good of Lamar Jackson. I mean, there's a reason all the great superstar quarterbacks in the history of football had big-time agents. It helped them capitalize on every dollar they could possibly make. Lamar Jackson deserves to be paid like one of the 2 or 3 highest-paid quarterbacks in football and players in the history of football. There's no doubt. And he was offered that type of contract before last year. At least right in that stratosphere there. Now, it might have not been to his exact liking, but, yeah, there's nobody that's a salesman for Lamar Jackson. That's the problem. You're exactly right. And then on top of that, the way business is being handled, or at least how it looks to all of us, that adds to more, negativity or, wait, I don't know if he knows what he's doing or he seems unorganized or less professional, and do we want to deal with that? And all of those things continue to sprout up with this same conversation. So that's where it stinks. That's where you and me have always been like, please get a damn agent. Please.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.